On the green mountainside covered in mist in the early morning, Mr. Two's tree cutting crane team has started a busy working day. This is a daily job for them, but today, the work requires even more coordination when facing hundreds of large trees growing close together on this mountain. The dense trees make cutting, planing, and moving trees difficult, but for experienced people like Mr. Two's team, this is both a challenge and an opportunity to show off their skills. Early in the morning, Mr. Two directed each member to arrange the work. Everyone pay attention. Today we have 3 cranes and a tree crusher. First, prepare each area for cutting and arrange the crane to move safely. Mr. Two said loudly, his voice drowning out the sound of chainsaws and the sound of the truck starting up below. The team quickly divided into groups. First was Quan, the tree-cutting crane driver, a veteran with more than 10 years of experience. Quan was responsible for cutting the tall trees at the edge of the forest. He skillfully drove the crane to lift the saw high, aimed precisely at each large branch, and cut them off quickly. "Today's wind is strong, you have to be steady, guys." Quan reminded everyone, then started working with strong, precise saw strokes. Each time he cut, large branches fell to the ground, creating a sound that echoed throughout the mountains and forests. Meanwhile, Lam took on the role of driving the crane to fold the trees and transport them to the gathering point. His job required delicacy and agility, because he not only had to lift each large, heavy tree trunk, but also had to avoid other trees and move on challenging steep terrain. Lam laughed as he worked, "Let's see if anyone fell off their bike today. This slope is very strange, but it won't be difficult for us." The whole team burst into laughter at Lam's joke, adding to everyone's relaxed spirit. To prepare the tree trunks after cutting, the team also has Hugh, the tree stump planer driver. Hugh's job is to ensure that the tree trunks are neatly processed after cutting, avoiding danger to future pedestrians. He slowly approaches each tree trunk, letting the vehicle carefully plan the remaining stumps. Hugh, with his sense of humor, always finds ways to tease his teammates. "Hey, when someone does well, I'll plan every tree trunk to look like a sculpture." His jokes always make the working atmosphere of the whole team full of laughter. In addition, Viet is the one in charge of crushing the trees, an equally important step. Viet skillfully drives the planer, turning large branches into wood chips in the blink of an eye. "Come on, hurry up guys, if I plan to grind all these trees, we probably won't be back by evening," Viet urged while working, half joking, half serious, making the whole team even more nervous but still happy. Khan, who specializes in sawing tree stumps, took on the task of sawing the remaining stumps that Hugh could not plan. He skillfully operated the chainsaw, cutting off each stump that was still buried in the ground. With skillful technique, Khan handled each large stump without any difficulty. "Watch me clean up these difficult places. This sawing job is not easy," Khan proudly said.
Finally, Min and Hung were responsible for collecting the cut trees and branches and bringing them to Viet's crusher. Their work was not easy at all, because each branch was large and cumbersome. Min and Hung joked with each other while lifting the heavy branches. "We should form a gym team in the forest, right guys? Otherwise, we'll be exhausted from hugging our wives and children."
The work continued in an orderly and rhythmic manner. Each member of the team had a task, but they all coordinated well. Sometimes, they had to stop to drink water, rest and regain their strength, and there were always a few humorous stories to ease the fatigue. On the leader of the whole team, always followed the situation closely and encouraged his brothers. "Guys, try your best. Only about half a day left and we can go home and have dinner with our families." The whole team looked at each other, their faces drenched in sweat but still beaming with smiles. The work was hard, but for them, it was a source of pride, the joy of being immersed in nature, contributing to keeping the forest neat and safe. And most of all, the moments of bonding, sharing stories and laughter were the most precious things that not every job could have. The work was completed when the sun was leaning to the west. The sunlight penetrated the canopy, bathing each member of On2's tree sawing team in a warm yellow color. The team carefully checked each area one last time, making sure there were no tree stumps left, then cleaned up neatly before leaving. Before leaving, Mr. 2 turned back to thank each team member for their hard work, and he did not forget to remind, "Let's continue tomorrow. Don't forget to sleep early, stay healthy so you have the strength to work tomorrow." The late afternoon on the mountain became strangely peaceful as 2's crane team gradually left, leaving behind a clean forest, preparing for the new day to come. The solidarity, team spirit and joy in the work made their busy Wednesday meaningful and memorable.